I want to take you to a place that's far away from here, and I think you'll be able to see a map of Australia. Melbourne, this is where we are, right down here, but we are going to go to a place called Parglum Adventist School in Papua New Guinea. So we're going up to Papua New Guinea, and that's right on the top of Australia, and you'll be able to see it there. So we're going to go right in and have a look and see if we can find Parglum Adventist School. So it's right up in the middle of Papua New Guinea. So Parglum Adventist School was set up quite a long time ago, and I went up there for a number of years as a teacher, right up in the highlands. It's up around about 2,000 metres above sea level, so very pleasant. And they have updated their sign from the old one that you used to see. So that's the new one with a couple of the boys. You'll notice the boys have a lot of what we call mouse grass, which is facial hair. And a lot of the kids in school, even in the primary school when we were there, were very old, round about, I don't know, 17, 18, 19. That's an area shot of the area. And we'll just move on. So here you see a map of Parglum, and you'll see a few things there. The girls' dormitory, gardens and staff housing and so on, boys' dormitories, and the classroom block. The feature will be the classroom block, so I want you to keep an eye on that. At the school, we used to have to grow our own food. It was a boarding school, so all the students lived at the school, and so they were able to stay there and work there, grow their own food, and also then go to school there as well. And you'll see a truck there. That's called a PMV, a public motor vehicle. And our story really is about a PMV. It didn't have a cover on it or seats on it like that, but it was a truck like that. There are some of the veggies. How's that for a veggie patch? It's a ripper and the cabbages. And this is what they used to do with the cabbages. You'll see them there with a bush knife, and the bush knife is chopping up the cabbages, and hopefully his fingers are going to get out of the way. I want us to have a look at these bridges. There are a couple of bridges back in the very early days, and they were a bit rough to cross, as you can see. And there's a PMV crossing a bridge, and they're having trouble with that one. Later on, they built bridges like these. These are called Bailey bridges. These Bailey bridges were single lane, and they were built by the army during the wartime. And so our story is about Bailey bridges. What you can see there at the bottom of the screen is Mount Hagen, and right at the top of the screen is Parglum, and there's a road that goes for about 30 kilometres between the two. Our story begins when we were trying to go to town. I had gone into town with one of our students, Michael Pingen, and he was one of our students who was with me helping for the day, loading up the truck. We finished our work by the end of the day, and we're taking the truck all the way back to the school. And we were on our way. And as we went up the road, we were going really well, and we wanted to get home before sunset, so that was really important. And as we went along the road, we came to the top of a hill. And as we came to the top of the hill, suddenly the engine stopped. Now that was a bit of a problem. And so all the way down the hill, I was trying to start the truck and it wouldn't start. And down at the bottom of the hill was a Bailey bridge. And there we were sitting just to the side of the road. I didn't want to go onto the bridge because we'd be stuck there and stop the traffic. We managed to be able to find a truck coming the other way, and there were about 3 nuns in the truck, and they were going back into town, and we told them, go to Mount Hagen, go to Kimaninga, and let our head office know, Pastor Blanche, that we were stuck on the road. Well, we waited and waited, and finally Pastor Blanche came along with his twin cab Toyota, and he hooked up a chain to us, and we loaded a bit of stuff on to give him a bit of weight, and off we headed back to the school. This is part of the road as we were heading back to the school. And you'll see it's fairly winding. So on the bottom side, you can see a red circle. That's where there was another Bailey Bridge. And over on the right-hand side is the classroom block. And so by the time we got to the Bailey Bridge, Pastor Blanche was trying to tow us up the hill, and it was really quite steep at that Bailey Bridge. What we're going to do is to have a look at that square section. We're going to blow it up and zoom into that, and there's the Bailey Bridge, and it was very steep. Well, we unhooked the Pastor Blanche's vehicle, and by this time it was starting to get dark. In fact, it gets dark fairly quickly up there. And he headed off back to the school to see what he could do. Now, Michael and I were sitting in the truck on the bridge because that's where we couldn't go up the hill. And we were sitting there, and it was getting darker and darker, and Pastor Blanche hadn't come back. As it turned out, we saw some lights coming down the hill and towards us, and we thought, great, there's Pastor Blanche. But unfortunately, it wasn't Pastor Blanche, it was a car full of drunk men. And these drunk men were not happy because we blocked the bridge. Well, you can imagine they came out of their car because our truck was loaded up with all sorts of things, including we did have a kitchen sink. And we had food on there, and we thought these guys are going to pinch off with our food. So no. And we're sitting in the cab. They come around the truck and they said, Master, want him something? He come up. Well, what happened here? And I wound the window up a little bit more and I said, nothing. Nothing happened. We're just sitting here. And all they said was, no God, wamble something, he come up. Want him something. What happened? Oh, truck had me bugger up through here now. And he not go. He can't go. He's not enough to go. And I thought, well, we're going to be in trouble here. And the men started looking around the truck and seeing what they could do. And I started to worry about what was going to happen. So what did I do? What did I do? I was praying and I was asking God to help us. And I looked over and there was Michael, and he was praying too. We sat there and one man came across and he said, you're all on your own, in Pidgin. And I said, no, God, we got one pull of money stuff too. So one other boy was here and I looked over and Michael had gone. He had gone. He was afraid and he'd taken off. By now it was dark. And I'm sitting there on my own and I'm thinking, this is not good now. And this man, he wanted me to get out of the truck and I thought, I'm not going anywhere, wound the window up a bit more. And so there we were. Well, before long, I could see some lights coming down the track and I thought, Pastor Blanche at last. But do you know what? You wouldn't believe it. It was another carload of drunk men. Well, now there was about 10 of these fellas around the truck and I thought, oh God, you've got to really help me here. And they said, who's going to help you? Who's going to help you now? And I said, Papa God, I mean up long helping me. And I'm thinking, God, you have to send some angels right now. I need some angels right now. Well, and I said to them, I got plenty man long helping me. And these fellas started looking under the bridge and around the trees, and they were looking for these men that were going to help me. They came back to the truck and they said, Master, you gammon. You talk, you Christian, but you gammon. Gammon, that means you're telling lies. And I thought, oh man, I'm really in trouble here. Oh Lord, you need to send those angels. And you know what? In the darkness, I could see some angels running down the road. And they had come all the way from the classroom down to that Bailey Bridge. And I looked out the window and I wound it down and I said, you fellas can go. By now they'd pushed the truck off the bridge so that they could go. but they weren't leaving. And I said, I think you better go because my angels have arrived. And one carload, they ended up heading off, but one car was still there. And then Pastor Blanche came down and the boys came down. They had sticks, they had stones, they had machetes, they had all sorts of things. And they were going to do some damage. And I said, boys, I'm okay. Oh, Master, we heard that you'd been killed on the bridge. And so what had happened, Michael had run up there. The boys and girls were up in study period and they had run down. The boys had run down with all their weapons. Well, God had sent the angels, hadn't he? Tell you what, they were the best angels I've ever seen. Well, the story goes on. We were able to get the tractor down and the truck and Pastor Blanche's vehicle, and we were able to get the supplies up to the school. And so we unloaded the truck. We were towed the truck back into town, and I picked up my car and I drove all the way back to school. Well, that was a really eventful night. Then, 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a bang on my door, and it was Wakapa. Wakapa is the magistrate from a village nearby. And he came knocking on my door and he said, Master, you heard him story, you heard the story. And I said, I was half asleep still. And he said, Wampalamani dai finish long bridge. Now that bridge was in no man's land and there was fighting either side of there usually. And I said, me not heard him the story. And he was talking about me. And he thought I had been killed. He wasn't sure who it was. I said, no, God, I'm still alive. God has protected me and blessed. Well, he was really surprised because he had heard the story that somebody had been killed on that bridge that night. Well, I just want to share with you the fact that God is our protection, that with him we are safe. And I want you to know too that you can trust God, and whatever he wants for us, that will be his will for us. Doesn't always work out, but in this case, God had protected us.